My name is Frederick, and I am the CEO and narrative director of Dimfrost Studio.
And my name is Mihal, and I'm helping out on the marketing side of things at Dimfrost.
So can you guys talk about how your studio came about? It's kind of an interesting story. You guys had a smaller game you were making on that kind of evolved into the Bramble Mountain King, and you were all working out of an apartment, I guess?
Yeah, we started out, three of us started out directly after school, or basically we started out when we was in school. We met because we all loved the games, so we saw each other on a game conference. Actually, me and Eleanor, that is colleagues, we went in the same class, but we hadn't talked to each other for like 2 years, and then we were the only one from our class on this game conference. So then we started to talk about it, and just realized that we both loved the games. And she had a friend from another university that also loved games, and then we started out to see what we can do together. So our first project was a VR project when we still was in school, to just see can we work together without hating each other after. So we started out with that, and just realized that we love to work with each other. And then we got 4 members. We got one more, Fredrik Pentare he's called, and started our journey to see what can we do after school. What can we do with this game studio that we have started? So we started out with experiment a little bit called Basen. We worked from my colleague apartment. We worked from there like 10 hours a day, and then on the weekend everyone had to make the money so they could survive. So everyone was on their own on the weekends, and during the other days we worked together in that apartment. So everything basically hit off with that Vasen experiment. We worked for 3 weeks on just testing out a graphical style and playing around with some ideas we had with the Nordic folklore, and put it out on Ingur one Sunday, and it just went like a bomb and got on the front page of Reddit the same night. And yeah, it all began with that basically.
So can you talk about, like, you based your game in Nordic mythology? Talk about some of the things you pulled from there, because I see some other things in there too, some other references and throwbacks to different fantasy worlds and lore.
Yeah, we started out to just see, okay, first our idea was to do something with the Vikings, but then we felt like there's a lot of games out there with the Vikings, and we just looked on another direction on the Swedish mythology, and so like, okay, we have all these fairy tales and all this story and all this creature that haven't really been told in an international way through a game, and that is stories that we all grow up with, and those creature is like Disney but darker. So we thought like that could be a really nice way to showing off in the game. And then we also looked like, okay, we love Lord of the Rings, and we love Narnia, and we love those kind of games. So we also wanted to do something with those as well and put it inside of the game. So we started out with the core is to have Nordic environments, Nordic creatures, Nordic ways of that, but in our way of storytelling we look a lot on Lord of the Rings and stories like that. So we are influenced by a lot of things.
You know, your trailer generated a lot of buzz when people saw it for the first time. And what was your reaction to that? I mean, for getting such a warm reception just based on the first trailer you've ever released for it.
Yeah, it was really amazing. We haven't released anything. We have been really quiet since 2019. We haven't shown anything we have worked on. So when we revealed this trailer at IGN on E3 and got that reception we got, it was a relief for everyone to just show what we are working on and start talking about it, and like showing what all the hard work we have done through the years. So we had a good moment over Discord when all the team joined in and looked at the live stream together, and yeah, it was amazing to see what people liked it.
What kind of game exactly is this? Is it a platformer, puzzle, adventure game? Because like you seem to have a mishmash of multiple genres in this game via the trailer.
Yeah, that is something that we want to show more of in a gameplay trailer soon. But we play around a lot with the camera. We play with this directed camera to to get more of the storytelling feeling and more of the cinematic feeling inside the game. And that make us do this variation that we sometimes can play around with the perspective in the side scroller, but sometimes we also do the 3D when you can run in depth. So we want to play around with that to find our own style, so it's not just like we're inspired by Little Nightmares inside, but we want to do our own thing. So for example, we are working a lot with puzzles with creatures, not with physics. So we want to create a lot of creatures in the world and then make puzzles with them, that you have gnomes and stuff like that that you need to save or need to help or need to get to a place in some kind of way. And then we want to work with this cinematic directed camera where we can play around with the perspective. So sometimes when we feel like it, we have this platform 2D view and 2.5 view, and you can go around like in Little Nightmares. But sometimes we also open up the environment and you can go around in depth in 3D and explore and just look for yourself what you want to explore.
Mikhail, can you talk about like what are some of the challenges in getting independent game studios game like Bramble out there, so for people to know that it's coming or that it exists in a world that has so many video games coming out every week, it seems like?
Well, I guess for me, what really helped us out was the trailer in itself. Like, I guess the whole idea of having this juxtaposition of really cute, boyish fable-like charm, and then mixed together with violence. That was something that was a little bit intentional, I guess, on our part. We kind of knew that we had to break through the noise and through the clutter and for all these announcements, especially during E3. So I guess we wanted to do like our first trailer out with a bang, and it kind of worked out for us, I guess. A lot of people took notice. I remember even like reading some of the comments afterwards, people were just going, whoa, this is intense. And I think it worked out for us well,
And then Frederick, talk about, you have two main characters. Talk about these main characters. Are they brother and sister characters exploring this world you've created?
Yeah, we have two siblings, the older sister and the younger brother. The older sister, very adventurous. She is very curious. She wants to explore the world. She believes that there is more than just their house inside the forest. The younger brother is very shy. He's very afraid. His sister is his role model. He feels insecure if he's not with her. The parents are very afraid that the siblings will go out to the forest. They tell the stories at nighttime about do not go too far into the forest. The boy trusts that. I would never do it. But the girl, that doesn't really check her boxes. She wants to go out. She wants that just make her more curious. So one night she sneak out in the forest, and the boy wakes up and see that she's gone and that she has climbed down the window, and he decides to follow her because he's very afraid that something could have happened to her. And together they tumble down this rabbit hole down to the new magical Bramble world, and the girl is always the one that is in front, that want to explore, want to go further. You play as the boy and you just follow her and make sure that like you are a little bit afraid, and she shows you the world, shows you things you can do. And then after a while she gets kidnapped by a big troll, and then the big journey begins. When you are the shy, insecure character, where you are the role model is this older sister, and when she's gone, what will you do? How can you handle it? And you are totally lost in this new world without the only thing that could protect you. And then the main character progress will start from there.
I'm getting some, like, I mean, in America, there's a fairy tale we're very familiar with called Hansel and Gretel. Usually those things are pulled from other lore and changed slightly based on the culture. Is obviously there's inspirations to that as well. Yeah, we have taken inspiration from a lot of things, not just Nordic culture. We're also looking at the Grimm story from Germany. We want to keep this whimsy fairy tale style, but we want to keep the dark stuff as well. We want to have a good mix of that. So that is something that we really looked into and worked through. So Hansel and Gretel is one of the stories we have looked on and read as child, and feel like that is something we can work with. Can you elaborate on that very scary long-haired person that comes out of the water in the trailer? Like, who is that?
Yeah, he is called Näcken in Sweden. The Nixie, I think he is called in English. When you are in Sweden, you can be in the south, the middle, the north, and in Denmark and Norway. It have a different story about him. But the main thing is that he lives in the water and he plays beautiful music to lure down people into the lake. So that is something that we have took and then made a little bit of our own version on it because it's so many different stories about him. So basically he's a cursed man that had a pretty scary background in how he gets to the point where he is in the game, and he has beautiful music where he lures you down to the water and then try to kill you basically.
Yeah,
And
he
that
looks
that scene in the trailer is actually, I guess, maybe not so much a little Easter egg, but a little reference to the very first GIF that the Dimfrost peeps put up all those years ago on Reddit. Yeah, so if you've seen that original GIF and you see that scene, you would kind of go, all right, I can see how this evolved over the years.
Yeah.
Well, Carl, how do tools like Reddit and Discord and forums and like all and social media, like how does that help you with your job when trying to make the game more knowledgeable out there?
It helps out heaps. Like I think, like once again, you kind of have to break through a lot of clutter. So you got to do things that kind of stand out, and you try to show something a little bit different. And I guess showing the Nordic folklore was like a pretty good thing to do, because once again, it's like a bit of a world that maybe not many in the West kind of know about. So showing something a little bit different always helps you stand out a little bit more. But I guess things like, social media, Reddit, I mean, they're all great tools to get you, out there and show what you have. And it's a nice little testing ground as well to see if, like, the idea that you have, is it actually sticky? Is it catchy? It's a nice feedback place too. So without it, I mean, it just makes our job a lot easier.
You mentioned your studios originally was working as VR, like doing experiments in VR design. What made you want to do Bramble Mountain King as a non-VR experience, and did you ever consider it being a VR experience?
Actually, we started out with our first game project, a Right Turn Installer, and that was a non-VR game as well. So we was into a competition in our town with that game, and then when we won that competition, we won an HTC Vive. So for us, it was like, okay, we got this equipment we couldn't afford if we didn't win here. Maybe we should test out to see what happens if we do a Gone Home type of game inside VR, if we work with storytelling inside VR. So basically, it was just a fun experiment for us. After we released it and we started with our new project, we felt like it would be fun if our friends could play our game. So that was our first thoughts of it, and then it just made sense for us to do a PC game here. The VR game helped us a lot to get a lot of console work that made us alive during the years when we worked on Vasan, that is now Bramble. But we felt like we want to do PC games, but we're also exploring how can we do a version of Bramble to VR, because we have that experience inside the team. There is nothing that we have decided on yet, but we are still looking at is it possible to do it, and how can we do it in that case.
And the game's coming out sometime next year. It's going to be PC and consoles. That include Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. Is that what you guys are planning for in release?
We don't really know.
Yeah, we'll try to bring it out to as many people as we possibly can, but no consoles confirmed at the moment.
That's great. And in the meantime, where can people go to find more information about Bramble, the Mountain King, and your studio, and where can they go to support your game?
Basically, we have our website, dimfroststudio.com, and then you can read about our studio, and you can read about the game, and you can go into the newsletter, sign up to the newsletter. But it will always be appreciated to go into our Steam store page and wishlist the game, subscribe us on YouTube, follow us on social media. Just give us support and love, because that is something that we have worked on when we didn't have any salary for those years. We worked without salary. We just worked for the passion and the love we get from the fans, and that is how we build the studio and how we build our ambitions, basically.